Hey y'all, welcome to the Murder Files. I'm your host, Buffy Gunner. Today on Murder File 13, we are going to be talking about Destiny Fitzpatrick from Atlanta, Georgia, and our featured missing person is Myra Lewis. Let's go ahead and get into the stories.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the Murder Files. Today I'm actually going to do two stories because the main story it's a fresh story, so it's not a lot of information out, but I was asked to do it, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. Our second story is going to be from the same state, close to the same area, but it's something that I personally wanted to do because it was a cold case and it's been a long time coming to find out who this little boy was and everything. But our first story comes out of Atlanta, Georgia, actually East Point, Georgia. I published this story about 6 days ago on Illicit Deeds Facebook page when it first hit, and it didn't have a lot of details. But the first story I got, I'm going to go ahead and read it to you now. Authorities are investigating after a 24-year-old woman was shot dead in East Point, according to the medical examiner's office. The shooting happened Tuesday at 4:45 p.m. at the 4000 block of Fox Hunt Lane, which is near the park at Galloway Apartments. The location is not far from Brookview Elementary School. The Fulton County Medical Examiner labeled the shooting as a homicide, saying it resulted from a domestic dispute. Again, with this domestic disputes, people can never control their temper. The medical examiner identified the victim as Destiny Fitzpatrick Tuesday. East Point police said the woman had been shot several times. The woman's boyfriend was taken into custody in connection to her shooting death. He told investigators that the domestic dispute has taken place inside their apartment, the police department said. Charges are pending against the man. East Point police detectives said are still investigating what happened. So, of course, I was just wondering exactly what happened. Like, this girl, from what I gathered from off of social media, she was a independent business owner out in Atlanta. She had a looks like a retail establishment, and it looks like it was successful. She was always posting about it. Her friends are sharing it. She had just did a photo shoot. Looks like a really nice photo shoot. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and follow this story. So the next day it came out, and I really didn't expect what was told. But a lot of people got upset how I did my title because I said Young Thug's nephew. Now, yes, this girl's boyfriend was is Young Thug's nephew, and the reason why I included Young Thug in the title is because the dude literally mentioned Young Thug for some odd reason I'm not sure. So he brought him up into the story, not me. So on July 9th is when the update came out, and the story was like a relative of rapper Young Thug is facing charges accused of shooting and killing his girlfriend, East Point police say. Far his name is kind of weird, so bear with me. Fardarian Deonta Greer is accused of killing 24-year-old Destiny Fitzpatrick earlier this week. Police confirmed Saturday that Greer is related to Young Thug. The shooting happened Tuesday at 4:45 p.m. at the 4000 block of Fox Hunt Lane, which is near the park at Gallery Apartments. The location was not far from Brookview Elementary School. East Point police said Fitzpatrick had been shot several times. In an initial report, police said the woman's boyfriend was taken into custody in connection to her shooting death. According to officers, the boyfriend told investigators that a domestic dispute had taken place inside their apartment. Officers did not say how the music entertainer and Greer are related, nor did they clarify what charges he will be facing in Fitzpatrick's death. Now, what I did find out, I found out how they were related. The dude's mother is Young Thug's sister. Now, the rest of the article goes into Young Thug's case, but that's not something that I want to talk about because he's not the topic. There was another article because that article is from Alive 11, but they didn't go into what this guy actually said. So let me go ahead and visit my website because I gave a little bit more information than their local news about the actual shooting and what this dude had the audacity to tell the police about what happened initially until he told the truth. So he actually shot this girl in the face. I'm not sure if when they said he shot her several times, I'm not sure if he shot her several times in the face because the medical examiner they didn't put in the report where exactly she was shot other than her face. But he had the nerve to tell police before he confessed to the shooting that they had been fighting off two armed masked intruders. Y'all, y'all. This dude really tried to make up a story and couldn't even hold fast to that story, which is crazy. But honestly, like I said before in an earlier episode, we have to start using discernment because I really don't even know how they got together, but he doesn't really look like he likes women. And that's just my opinion. I don't care how nobody feel about what I said, but I feel like he didn't like women. This dude got on eyeliner. He looked like his eyebrows was arched. Mm, when you want to make sure that these men actually like you, like really like you. We are living in a time where people are battling with their sexuality, and I don't think that it's safe to be dealing with somebody on a romantic level who are battling with their sexuality. They don't know if they like you. They have all these mixed feelings and anything that happens at the drop of a dime, they can snap. Don't nobody want that. Like, and I also feel like looking at her, she was way out of his league. Like she could have did way better than him. So yeah, I think using discernment is something that we're gonna have to start implementing into our lives. A lot of you people love to say, "Oh, God said don't judge nobody." Well, God said also said use discernment. So there's that. But rest in peace to Destiny. I'm really sorry that happened to her. Condolences to her family. That's just wild. But let's go ahead and get to our next story. That's out of Georgia, out of DeKalb County. This little boy has been his picture been circulated all over the United States. I've seen his story so many times in different missing person groups, and everything. And now we finally know who this little boy is and what happened to him. So I'm going to go ahead and read you my article from my website, illicitdeeds.com, and talk about this little boy they just identified after so many years, so many decades. Mother charged in cold case murder in Georgia, accused of drugging and hitting son. A mother recently charged with murder more than 20 years after her son's body was found in the woods near a Georgia cemetery is accused of drugging the boy and hitting him in the head, court documents show. 45-year-old Teresa Bailey Black was booked into the Maricopa County Jail on July 29th, according to online records. Um, Maricopa County Jail is not in Georgia. That's actually in Arizona, not too far from Phoenix. Black was arrested by Arizona authorities on a warrant out of DeKalb that was secured after investigators identified the body of her 6-year-old son, William Hamilton, District Attorney Sherry Boston announced Wednesday. The indictment against Black reveals new information about the decades old killing, while court documents from her prior home in North Carolina show that Black was involved in another person's death years earlier. So this bitch was out here just killing people. That's why her ass on a breathing machine. She feeling all that karma. One felony murder charge and one child cruelty charge each stem from the accusation that Black gave Hamilton enough of the drugs found in Benadryl and Tylenol to hurt and ultimately kill him, the indictment shows. The other counts of murder and child cruelty accuse Black of failing to seek medical treatment for Hamilton, while the aggravated assault charge accuses her of hitting her son in the head. The indictment's final charge claims she concealed Hamilton's death by leaving him in the woods and lying about his whereabouts. The discovery of Hamilton's body on February 26, 1999, was shrouded in mystery because police could not determine the child's cause of death. Boston said during Wednesday's news conference. The 6-year-old's body was unidentifiable because it lay in the woods for months before it was discovered. At the time, investigators said the child appeared to have been healthy and showed no obvious signs of physical injuries. Hamilton was well dressed and appeared to have been carefully placed near the cemetery. Several years before Hamilton's body was found, Black was involved in another person's death, according to court records from Mecklenburg County in North Carolina. On September 7, 1994, she was convicted of manslaughter at the age of 17. She served more than a year in prison before being released on November 8, 1995. The, the DeKalb District Attorney's Office confirmed Black manslaughter conviction, but could not provide any further details about the incident. I guess they can't do that because she was a minor, but I would love to know those details. The Mecklenburg Superior Court clerk has not responded to an open court's request from the Atlanta Journal Constitution. Boston's team is still building its case and is asking for more information from the public. Anyone who may have known or interacted with Black or Hamilton between December 1998 and February 1999 is asked to call the DeKalb DA office code case tip line at 404-371-2444. They said all callers will remain anonymous. Now, this case is so wild because, first of all, to the people who were asking about the son's whereabouts, after this bitch lying for so long, y'all didn't think that maybe somebody should go to the police and say something? I also noticed that this girl never filed a missing persons report for this child. Why didn't nobody ever notice that this child was missing other than the people that did ask? Like teachers, because the child was 6, so the child should have been in school. Where was CPS? Did anybody ever call CPS? Like, there's still so much they haven't told us about this case. And I, I just don't understand how she sat there and lived with herself all this time, knowing damn well what she did with her son. I tell you guys, it's some sick ass people out there. There is no way that I could have lived with myself knowing damn well I killed my own damn son, my own child, period. But it seems like she was out there just living life. Well, seems like life was also doing her ass too because she looks bad. But I can't wait for more information to come out. I know they're going to bring some more information out. I wonder if there was any witnesses. Somebody had to have known. Somebody had to have known because what was her actual excuse as to where her child been or where her child went to the people who was asking about the child? I really want to hear from her. Like, lady, we need an explanation. We need information. We need details. We need it all because you was really tripping. If you thought you was gonna get away with, I know she thought she was gonna get away with this, but if you guys notice, they're starting to come out with a whole lot of arrests from cases from a long time ago. This DNA ain't no joke. They running that DNA that they've been holding on for years, and they solving them cases. And I'm glad that they are because this baby needed justice a long time ago. So, okay, if she was 17 in 1994, she was possibly already pregnant when she went to jail because her son was found, they say, was that 1999? Yeah, so either was pregnant right when she went to jail or she got pregnant right after she got out of jail from that manslaughter charge. But I'm actually not even surprised that she had a whole nother charge. I just really wish they could release that information as to, who she killed, what happened, because what if she killed another child? You know what I'm saying? And then she sat there and had a child and nobody thought to keep an eye on her ass. When I look at her picture, she looked evil as hell and looked like God is really torturing her throughout her life that she has left. And she deserves every bit of it. But those are the two cases that I really want to go over today. I'm gonna go ahead and play a video, not a video, but a news clip from the cold case about William Hamilton, 6-year-old William Hamilton. And I'll come back with the featured missing person story. We're going to talk about Myra Lewis from Mississippi. But I'll be back, guys. Go ahead and listen to the our little there's going to be a little ad that comes on after the clip, and I'll be right back.
Has been identified as William Deshaun Hamilton, a 6-year-old child from Charlotte, North Carolina, who had recently relocated to Atlanta with his mother shortly before his death. Of another, in connection with the death of young William. Defendant Black was arrested on June 29th of 2022 in Phoenix, Arizona, where she resides. She is awaiting extradition to DeKalb County. Once here, she will be arraigned, and the case will be set for trial at a date to be determined. Because this is an open and pending case, we can't go into many specifics, but I can offer this timeline based on our investigation. December of 1998, William Hamilton is withdrawn from school in Charlotte. February of 1999, an unidentified child's body is found in a wooded area in DeKalb County. May of 2020, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children receives a tip regarding the unidentified remains. February 2022, Teresa Bailey Black is identified as a suspect. February of 2022, the unidentified remains are identified as 6-year-old William Hamilton. June of 2022, Teresa Bailey Black is indicted and then arrested in Phoenix, Arizona. We are currently seeking the public's assistance. According to the investigation, Teresa Ann Bailey briefly worked at an establishment in Atlanta known as Pleasers and may have been obtaining assistance from the Atlanta Day Shelter for Women and Children. We are asking anyone who may have known or interacted with Miss Bailey or with young William during that time here in the metro area in 1998 or 1999 to please call our cold case tip line. You can remain anonymous. That number is 404-371-2444. While this is the beginning of the criminal aspect of this case, it brings to close decades of unanswered questions. We would not be here today without the dogged determination of so many dedicated partners. But let me start with my team. Thank you to Lance Cross, Director of our Major Crimes Unit, Shannon Hodder, Deputy Chief Assistant District Attorney in our Trial Division, and Supervising Investigator Matt McClendon for believing in this case and leaving no stone unturned. They have poured countless hours into this investigation and will lead the prosecution of this case. Also, a special mention to Senior Assistant District Attorney Agatha Romanowski and Senior Investigator Crispin Henry with our Saki team for their preliminary work on this case. Thank you to the DeKalb County Police Department, specifically Chris Harvey, who served as the lead investigator on this case in 1999. He now serves as the Deputy Director with the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council, or POST. Also, Lieutenant Adam Quigley, who is currently working the investigation with our team and lending his expertise and equal amounts of passion and determination to uncovering the truth and obtaining justice for William. You'll hear from representatives in just a moment, but let me also thank the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Before I turn this podium over, allow me to extend a huge debt of gratitude to you, the public, for keeping this case on your hearts and on your minds for decades. We look forward to bringing justice on behalf of William Deshaun Hamilton, an unknown name and face no more. I'd like now to invite our partners up for a few remarks before answering any questions. First, Director Pat Bailey with the DeKalb County Medical Examiner's Office.
Good morning, Madam DA, to my DeKalb partners. This is a great day for our office. The medical examiner has not let this case rest over the past 23 years. I was shaken when we got a name. We developed a nickname for him in our office. We called him Dennis, just to give the child a name. And now, William can rest in peace. I appreciate the hard work and the dedication, and I look forward to anything the ME's office can provide to provide in the assistance of prosecution. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Bailey. And finally, I'd like to invite to the podium Angeline Hartman, Communications Director for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the agency that received the tip that was critical to helping us break this case. But Angeline has a very special connection to this case. She was a local reporter on the scene when young William's body was recovered. She covered the story extensively while here and on a national platform with America's Most Wanted and on her podcast, Inside Crime. The point is that Angeline has never forgotten this case, and has done her best to keep it in the public forefront. We appreciate her dedication to seeking answers and helping us pursue justice. Angeline.
Well, you know I have to hug you after that. Wow. Thank you, DA Boston, for those very kind words. That's so special to me. And I know all of us feel very connected to William. So many people feel very connected to William. I just want to say thank you to you and your team and all of the investigators before now who brought us to this day. Thank you for putting up with me over the years. We always knew that there were answers out there. As you know, the break in this case happened when someone called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children after seeing that reconstruction photo. We know that images like this work, and that's why we ask people to take the time, just take a moment out of your day to look. You never know when you're going to be that one person. It just takes one call. In this case, the woman who called the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children knew William, and she knew William's mother very well. For more than 20 years, she wondered what happened to William. And she always felt that something wasn't right. She made it her personal mission to find him. And when I say she made it her personal mission, that is not an understatement. She was actively searching for William every single day. I spent the day with her on Monday, and I want to share with you some of the things that she said about William in her own words. William was like a shining star. William was fun. He liked to draw and read books. He didn't want you to read to him. He wanted to read to you. But William didn't want to read children's books. He liked to read the dictionary and the encyclopedia. And when he read, William wanted you to sit up and listen to him. William was going to grow up to be somebody. I so wanted him to be alive. I wanted William to know that I never stopped looking for him. I loved William. Her name is Ava. She prefers to keep her last name private. His name was William Deshaun Hamilton.
Thank you, Angeline. And thanks to all of you. We'll now open the floor to questions.
There's so many other cases, and just like Angeline was saying, the importance of coming forward. Can you speak a little bit about, the difference that really makes in a case like this and so many others?
In this case, we would have never been able to identify William nor seek justice without someone from the public coming forward. I mean, for years, we were unable to identify him, to give him his name, to say his name, let alone seek justice. So this is an example, and we say this to the public, tips are so meaningful. They mean something whether it's a tip or the day after something happens or 20 years later. It makes a difference.
And now that we're at this point, finally have some closure, how will the prosecution move forward? Is that going to really come down to these people continuing to call in and give information to help build the case, hopefully?
Well, we are prepared, and the grand jury indicted this case with what we've been able to uncover with our investigation. But obviously, anyone that saw anything in 1998 or 1999 that knew Teresa Bailey, now Black, or recognizes William now that we've identified him, we want to hear from them. That's why this tip line is so important. Anybody that might have witnessed anything during that time period could provide critical additional information that will be essential in the prosecution of this case.
Judge
tell us about the arrest made in Phoenix. When had she left, or I guess moved away from the DeKalb County area? And do you have any details? I don't know if anyone from your office was present for that arrest. Did she say anything? Was anything learned during that process?
So because this is an ongoing case and we are getting ready to pursue this in court, we cannot give any information about what she may or may not have said during the investigation and during her arrest. But we look forward to those facts coming out in court.
Can you at least comment on when she left the DeKalb, I guess moved away from the DeKalb County area and started living elsewhere?
We believe that she left DeKalb almost immediately after William's death.
And was he ever reported missing? Was he ever on a registry or anything?
No.
And as far as IDing him, was it simply through that tipster? I think you might have mentioned it. Was there anything with DNA evidence here? And sort of, was that only possible with, current evidence or technology? Would this have been possible, 5, 10, 15 years ago?
Once we had a name and he was identified and we could figure out who his parents were, that's when we were able to obtain DNA to establish that the remains that we had were in fact William Deshaun Hamilton.
And did that DNA, that sweatshirt, those boots, all that clothing that was, shown quite often over the years, was the DNA pulled from those items?
Actually from his skeletal remains.
And our apologies for being a bit late, but can you revisit the circumstances surrounding his death?
Well, the circumstances is that his body was found decomposed in a shallow grave in a wooded area at Clifton Springs and Clifton Church Springs Road in DeKalb back in 1998, 99.
And do you know how long his body had been in that shallow grave?
We believe that it had been in the grave for several months when he was located, based on the decomposition of the body at that time.
And beyond this tipster, back in 1999, was there, William's father, other family members, other people close to him that were searching for him, that reported William as missing in some jurisdiction? Just sort of, it seems sort of, was the mom the only one that knew him? And
William was not reported missing. And so therefore, no one was necessarily looking for him. What we know is that people ask questions, but he was not declared a missing child at that point. So when we discovered his body, when police started their investigation, we had no idea whom this child was. And so imagine the search radius when you are trying to identify a child that has not yet, in fact, been declared missing. It's like searching for a needle in a haystack.
especially with them having just moved. Do we know what brought them to the DeKalb County area when they moved?
We do not, not that I can share right now. And we're, of course, looking for more information for the short period of time that Miss Bailey, at the time, now Miss Black, lived in the area.
And the investigation definitely pointed to this being a homicide and not a death of any natural causes or anything.
Yes, we have a reason to believe that it is a homicide.
Okay, Angeline, question for you.
Sure.
What about this case that we never stopped? We have covered, you and George Most Wanted together, a lot of cases. But tell me what about this one here?
I mean, I think from day one, this case bothered anybody who knew about it. Those who were out at the scene, whether they were investigators or the media. When you hear about a child, especially at that time, we didn't know how young, but we knew that it had to be a child because of just from what we saw at the scene, right? We knew that this was a young person. And anytime something like this happens involving a young person, that just hits you. And now, over the years, to know, we just kept trying and develop more information and to see these composites, to see these images, I felt closer to him over the years. And I know we all cared for him in a special way, but that connection, I can't explain it. I think we all feel it. And today is a day that we had hoped would happen, And even though we had hoped it would happen all this time, it's still hard to believe that we're really here. And we're just so grateful to everybody who worked so hard on this. So.
Quick question out of curiosity, was William Teresa's only child?
I'm not going to comment right now on who Teresa Bailey Black is now. Again, I think that'll be information that will come out during the trial. All right. Thank you so much for being here.
Our featured missing person today is a little girl named Myra Lewis, and she went missing from Camden, Mississippi. Now they say she's endangered missing, but her story is rather peculiar to me because it's like she vanished into thin air. At least that's what it looks like. So let me go ahead and get started with her story, and then I'm gonna give my opinion. Myra was last seen playing outside her home on Mount Pilgrim Road in Camden, Mississippi between 10:30 and 11 o'clock a.m. on March 1st, 2014. Her mother left to go to the grocery store and told Myra and her sisters to go inside the house where their father was. Each parent thought Myra was with the other, so no one realized she was missing until 3 o'clock p.m. After looking for her themselves for an hour, Myra's parents called the police. An extensive search of the area turned up no sign of the child. Little information is given about her case, like very little information. That information came from the Charlie Project. I do want to point out some things. Her mother told her to go into the house instead of walking her into the house. This little girl was 2 years old. I don't understand why she wasn't walked into the house if her daddy wasn't outside. Her daddy was already taking care of another little girl. Also, I want to know how old are these sisters? I try to find that information everywhere, but I don't know how old the sisters were at the time because if the sisters was outside playing with their sister, wouldn't they know shouldn't they know something if they can talk, if they can comprehend? I say that because again, I don't know how old they were at the time, but if she was 2 and the other baby was 1, that means the other sisters, and it was plural, so that means more than one, were older. So they should be able to know something. I don't see nowhere where these children were ever questioned or said anything. I don't even see the mother had much anything to say, and I don't see the daddy saying much. It was like snippets of what they said. If they said anything, I looked everywhere and I didn't see it. However, there was another article that was, where is this from? WLBT on your side. Looks like Channel 3 out there in Mississippi. And they said it was March 1st, 2014, when Myra Lewis was last seen in the front yard at her now abandoned home. The search was on as investigators and dozens of law enforcement agencies swarmed the Camden area in hopes of finding little 2-year-old Myra Lewis. Back in 2015, Myra's mother, Erica Lewis, made this heartfelt plea. I just need help. Help on finding her. Whoever has her, just bring her home, please. That's my baby. That's not your baby. Well, 8 years later, an area that was once an active search scene has become buried in tree vines and dead grass. Randy Tucker, the sheriff of Madison County, has been on this case since day one. He said, as of today, there has been no solid tips or leads submitted to help Myra Lewis. I can sit here today and tell you that we are absolutely no closer than we were day one when we arrived on scene, said Sheriff Tucker. According to Tucker, his department has exhausted all resources to help find Lewis. He says they have even tried to stay in close contact with the immediate family, but they have since vanished. They moved away from the area, and our best efforts to locate them have gone unfruitful. Sheriff Tucker says the more the anniversary dates come, the harder it gets for him. The further you get away from the incident date itself, the more you are concerned about finding her alive. Anyone with information on her disappearance is asked to call local law enforcement. There is still a $20,000 reward being offered for tips that could lead to answers about Myra's disappearance. Now, as far as I've read, I've learned that the FBI has taken over the case. They haven't said whether they have spoke with family members or not. They haven't said much of anything but the information about Myra Lewis. Here's a few other details about Myra Lewis. Her birthday is November 30th, 2011, which makes she will be 10 years old today, turning 11 this year. Her height and weight, she was 2'10", 27 pounds. Of course, if she's still alive, that would have changed by now. The last thing she was seen in was a turquoise sweater with the image of a bear on the front, off-white or khaki pants, and pink sneakers. And she's a black female, black hair, brown eyes. That's all the information they give. They also give two different numbers for the investigating agency, which is Madison County Sheriff's Office. Their number is 601 859 2345. And there's also Mississippi Highway Patrol at 855 642 5378. Now, I've read that the family has taken lie detector tests, and supposedly they passed the lie detector test. Here's my thing. There's a reason why lie detector tests don't qualify for court trials and stuff like that. You can literally go in there and pass the test and be lying your fucking ass off. Literally. So I kind of don't really buy their story because I don't understand how anyone can be so careless when they have children, especially as young as 2 years old. You mean to tell me you left your child outside and you just thought that telling her to go inside, she was just going to go inside? Now, let's say someone probably did abduct her, like everyone is saying. Where I've looked at the house, the pictures of the house, and they don't really give like a clear image as to what the house looked like. The only thing I can say is it looked like at least someone should have been outside. And if no one was outside, again, why would you not walk your daughter and your other kids inside the house? You mean to tell me that all the other kids were in the house except for her? Now, I would say that it looked like there's like they probably stayed by some woods or something. Again, the picture is kind of like really cut off short, so I can't really tell. But that's exactly what it looks like now. She could have wandered into the woods. She could have gotten snatched by someone. But it's just a story for me. That story is all off. Like y'all, you didn't. Nobody thought to check on this child until like 4 or 5 hours later. And why the fuck would you go and move out of state or wherever you went and not give the sheriffs your forwarding information so if anything develops, they can contact you? That's suspect as fuck to me. If my child was to disappear, I'm gonna make sure everybody has my information if I move away. But if I can't find my child, I'm not gonna move away because I'm still gonna be looking for my child. I think when people move away, they move away so like what's going on now, they can't be found. And that's just weird to me. I don't know. But if what happens happens, I'm sorry to say, but that was careless. Do we not know how to actually parent these days? That was just common sense to walk the child in the house and then go somewhere, especially if you knew your husband was tied up with another baby. What were you doing, mother, that you couldn't walk your little girls into the house? And again, were these little girls questioned? How old were they? And why, if one was old enough, why didn't the little girl? Well, I wouldn't even say that because you parents have a problem with making it seem like the oldest child have to be the mother figure, and that's not fair to them. So I'm not even going to say that she should have made sure that everybody went in the house. The mother should have made sure everybody went in the house. But I really hope that one day they find her alive, and if it happens to be the latter, at least figure out exactly what happened to her so she can get her justice. This little girl been missing since March 1st, 2014. So I really hope that this case proves me wrong one day and she turns up to be okay. I hope that she wasn't abducted. I hope that she wasn't met with foul play by the hands of her parents or whatever. Also, I was also thinking that it could have been like an accident to where something happened and the parents got scared and made her disappear. It's not like we never seen that before, and I'm not saying that's what happened, but it's a possibility. You have to look at all angles and you have to be realistic. I'm not here to coddle anybody. That's not what I do. I'm not going to sit here and act like everybody's just innocent because they're not. But yeah, I just hope that one day she's found. And that's Myra Lewis. Again, she went missing March 1st, 2014. But I'm going to go ahead and leave that there. And I'll be seeing you next time. Go ahead and I'm going to go out and play the outro.
Thanks for joining me for this episode of The Murder Files. Make sure to visit our website, www.illicitdeeds.com, where you can subscribe to our show on Anchor, Spotify, or via RSS so you'll never miss an episode. While you're at it, if you found value in this show, I'd appreciate if you let me know. Or you can simply tell a friend about the show. That would help me a lot too. If you like the show, you might want to check out our merch available on our website. Don't forget that you can leave a voice message with your questions, and I'll answer them live on the next show. Be sure to tune in next time to the Murder Files for our next episode. Be vigilant, be safe. This is your host, Miss Cash, signing out.